Many lifters believe that resting a long time between sets is only for strength training. Bodybuilding in the 3 sets of 8 to 12 zone or even 15 to 20, any high rep setup doesn't require that. 30 to 60 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes tops is all you'll ever need. When in reality, the emerging body of evidence seems to be proving otherwise. Meaning, many of the bodybuilders and trainers on YouTube have been wrong for years, myself included. So how about we leave our biases aside and look at the research. From 2016 till now, it has consistently been shown that the more you rest, the better the size gains. So it's not only for performance. In fact, your performance on a set per set basis indicates the quality. If your body wasn't ready and required at least another 2 minutes to optimally perform, yet you came in and did the set regardless, you're not gaining as much from it. For the simple reason that you don't fully reactivate the high threshold motor units. For those who don't know, this can be traced back to Henmans' size principle. You have your smaller, low threshold motor units, which are typically associated with slow twitch activities, and then you have the bigger, high threshold motor units related to the fast twitch. And basically, as the force production increases or you're getting closer to failure, you're activating more of those high threshold motor units. And those are the ones that are most important for hypertrophy. So the heavier the weights are relative to your 1 rep max, not in an absolute sense, but percentage-wise, the quicker you go into it. Whereas the lower side, you're going to have to really rep things out and get close to 0 reps in reserve before you actually start to get those benefits. So on a set of 25, the first 10 reps, you're not really getting much size-wise. And that's why a lot of the programs that use extremely low RPEs have you doing a lot of sets. So this applies to rest intervals, not only on the compound movements, but also isolations. And even if you're doing a simple 3 sets of 10 setup, 1 minute of rest is not enough. Even 2 minutes is not enough in most cases. 3 is better than 2. And 3 to 5 is ideal for most. And there's also a work capacity element to this, but even if you're extremely fit and you do tons of GPP and cardio, you can't change what's happening on a physiological level by reducing your rest to an amount that's far too low. So the best rest interval for most individuals is 3 minutes. And my personal range is 3 to 5. So remember, whether you're doing reps of 15 or 20 or 10 or 6 or whatever you think is best for size, don't do the minimum. Oh, and if you find the sets too easy, by the way, maybe you should increase the weight because there's a high chance you haven't been hitting your actual strength potential for a long time. Or if you want more of a conditioning element to this, just superset. So if I do a bench press and a barbell row, all is good. So there's other ways to build work capacity. And number one is going to be your GPP workouts, so doing cardio in general. So don't skip out on that, especially if you give a about your health. And another thing is that I'm not telling you to change your program. Run it as written with longer rest intervals. That is it. So the training stimulus you're getting is higher. The only difference is that you're less out of breath between sets and less fatigued in a way that allows you to maximize your performance, which is literally better for hypertrophy. Again, that's why a lot of these programs you see out there are so junky, because they're literally faulty by design. And what you're seeing is simple compensation, which also includes, by the way, many calisthenics programs, as much as I love them. Even the down workouts is a form of compensation. Effective, brutal, hard, I love them. I'm going to keep recommending them. Hell yeah, time tested, it works. But we also have to factor in efficiency. I can get a great chest workout by doing 3 sets of weighted dips and 3 sets of weighted push-ups, instead of having to do 500 to 1,000 push-ups, even though that does work. So I'm just trying to bring this back in a regular programming sense, not the fringe stuff, or what also works but isn't the most feasible. Makes sense? Let's not nitpick and live in black and white thinking. That's the destruction of critical thinking, period. All I'm saying is, for most people watching this video, if you rest a little bit more than what you're typically used to, you'll get better results. So start with 3 minutes instead of 1 to 2. Just do it. Volume day or intensity day, I don't care what it is. Let me know how it goes and log your stuff. You'll see the progression is much smoother overall. Now, obviously, there are exceptions like dynamic effort training. In this case, we're doing high sets, slow reps, like 12 sets of 2 with 30 to 60 seconds of rest. Then you got things like rest pause, myo reps, drop sets, or your simple burnouts. Again, it's not something that we're going to do for every single movement, and we can't say that's better than traditional sets and reps. So these are tools in the toolbox that, when used appropriately or in addition to what we're already doing, can be good and it's nice to have, but it's certainly not necessary or optimal. So I'm not telling you not to do this stuff, but know that that is the exception when we talk about the shorter rest intervals. And then there's what you want. Priority matters. If you have a really strong muscle group or you're in a maintenance phase and you don't want to rest all this time because you already hit your goal and it's just like, okay, I want to hit 2 to 3 minutes of rest, you do you. Or if it is an isolation that you care less of, or maybe it's a less important isolation movement like a tricep kickback, fine, rest a little bit. But if it's something that you're legitimately trying to improve upon to its highest potential, rest a bit more. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm rambling at this point. I can give you examples left and right, but just know that for stubborn muscles or important accessories, you should try to maximize your performance. And the stuff that you're already good on, okay, lower it a little bit for the sake of time efficiency. But that's really all it is. You're saving time, not maximizing your gains. We need to make that clear that they're not the same thing. Sometimes you do have to be in the gym a little bit longer to get the best results possible. And it does suck, and I'm sure you want to get the out of there. But we're talking about results. Shorter rest intervals are usually inferior for hypertrophy. Reserve that for GPP workouts, where you're dragging a sled, pushing the prowler, doing 200 to 500 burpees, high rep calisthenics with basic variations, doing a burnout at the very end of your program, not the majority. And that's all I'm trying to say. 80% of your training, and yeah, I pulled that number out of my should be with longer rest intervals, high reps or not. So make this your new default and let me know how this goes long term. I'm pretty sure you'll be shocked once you let the dogma out of your life.